You're watching the Average Outdoors channel, and today we are going to take a look at my car box. My car box is a container that has different tools and items that I find I need when I'm away from home in the car and the fortune is not shining upon me. So let's get a little bit closer, let's take a look inside, see what it takes care of. Here's how my car box is situated. Kind of hard with the shadow, but you can see it's got a bungee back here, all back, tied up nicely. Got my tow down straps, a couple extra bungees. And then underneath here is a 12 by 12 tarp. Again, this is mainly for shelter if need be, or if I need to lay something down so I don't get rock crap all over when I'm hauling rocks. And then this, when you live a half an hour away from town and you want to get you some ice cream, it's nice to have a little cooler bag. You can put it in there, keeps it cold by the time you get home. Before I talk about what's in my car box, I want to talk about what's not in my car box. First things first is this El Cheapo compressor kit. Hooks up into your car cigarette lighter. And if I need to air down for going on a little bit rougher terrain, I can air back up. And also if I get a flat, I can air up and give me a couple miles before I need to do it again. It's nice to have, I've used it a few times, but it was free, so I figure I keep it in there and it doesn't take up too much room. Next to that, this is a cold steel trail hawk. It's nice to have something to chop wood with, process wood with, make kindling. A little bit more substantial than a knife. I actually have used this to clear out a trail. It took me probably 2 hours to cut through a log. I don't know, it wasn't a super big one. But it does that job if you need it, and it's nice to have. It also can be used as a hammer, driving in stakes and whatnot. Also back there, I carry 4 ratchet straps. This is mainly if I'm towing a dirt bike or a quad in my trailer. If I'm going to the dump, I need to tie stuff down into the trailer. Lastly, in the center console, I keep my truck gun. Now, my truck gun is not actually a gun, but a set of magazines for my carry gun. This is for the Glocks that I carry. These are for the SIG P238 that I carry. I like carrying extra mags as opposed to a true truck gun because if these are stolen, I just don't care. Not that I want them stolen, but at the same time, if a gun gets stolen, it's a little bit more of a hassle. I've got to report it. I've got to see if insurance will cover it. These, don't have to worry about them. I was kind of curious because these are not, obviously these are the ETS mags, not stock Glock mags. I was wondering if the extreme heat of the car would bend out these feed lips. And as of yet, they haven't happened. So that's nice. We'll see if it hasn't been in there. They've been in there all winter, haven't snapped. They have not been in during summer. I just put these in early last winter. And we've had a few hot days, probably in the 90 degrees. But we haven't had any like real scorchers, real 110 degrees, which it will get to this summer. And I'm curious when it gets to 120, 130, 140 inside the car, if these feed lips will hold up. Time will tell. I'll report back if they don't. But so far they've been great little mags. And then you've just got, these are just stock SIG mags. Additionally, in my sweet Jan Sport fanny pack, I got a couple little tools in here. All this stuff is redundant to what I have in the box, but it's just nice to have something I can grab and go with if I need to move quick. This is a cold steel Pendleton Light. Mora's used to be my go-to cheap knife, and I've switched over to these ones. Mainly because I like the belly that it provides. I like the grind. Honestly, I despise Scandi grinds. These grinds work better for me. Easier to sharpen. I like how they process food better. Scandi grinds, they have a very steep transition into the tang of the blade, the spine of the blade, and I just don't like how that cuts. Now, if you're processing wood, I understand that bushcraft people really like it. I don't like sharpening it. I don't like cutting with it. So Moras have kind of gone on the wayside. I still have them. I keep them in my kits, but I don't buy them anymore. I prefer these much more. Additionally, in here, one of these awesome little Amazon flashlights back in the day when they were like $2. I think they've kind of come up in popularity and as well in price. With that, Leatherman S2 Juice, a very old and clapped out one. I bought this on eBay and it was in way rougher shape than what was advertised, but it was like 15 bucks, so I figured, what the heck. And it's the first gen one now, so those have actually gone up in price. I like this little Lansky Diamond Stone Sharpener. It's really nice, really handy. It's super small, and it's not very low grit. It's a pretty high grit, it's pretty aggressive, but if you need to just get a quick edge on there, it puts it on really fast. And last but not least, your standard issue Swiss Army knife with the corkscrew in case you need to open up some wine. So that's it for things that are not inside the car box. Let's take a look what's actually in the box. So we've taken a look to see what's not inside my truck box. Now we get to the meat and taters of it all, see what's actually in here. Let me get you around to see the top view as I open it, see how it's all laid out. So this is what it looks like from the top view. As you can see, it's pretty packed in here. I will say it is a pain to get something at the bottom. You've pretty much got to remove it all, but that's just the nature of the beast. I'm going to start from the top, we'll work our way to the bottom. First up, as you probably saw, is a Gerber kukri. Now, this is more of a machete than it is a kukri. The blade profile is really, really thin, but it's nice because it makes it really lightweight and it chops pretty well. If you're trying to hack wood with this, especially anything that's bigger than what it can take through in one clean felt swipe, what happens is this really thin blade tends to stick into the wood. So if you're trying to like hack through a log, it's really not going to do what you want it to do. But it's nice to have in here as a bigger, more force multiplying blade. I don't use it too often, but it has come out a few times. Next up, your ubiquitous jumper cables. You gotta have them in your car. You gotta have them in your car. Also, a mandatory item to have in here is a small, cheap, not necessarily cheap if you got the money, but if you're cheap like me, it's nice to have a toolkit with a reasonable variety of tools in here. The one thing that this doesn't have is pliers, but I've got that in my other kits with the Leathermans and stuff, so it's nice to have in here. Definitely have used this multiple times. Next up, something that I have used once, and successfully at that, is a small fishing kit. Now, there are a few times when I actually fish not planned, but in a survival scenario, this is key. How nice is this to have if you've got water, you've got the ability to fish, now you have the means to do that. Nice to have. I have used it, like I said, once or twice. Now, this kit is pretty comprehensive for my needs and my wants and desires. So I do a lot of, not necessarily overlanding, but I'll take a day trip and I'll just go out into the woods on old forest roads and I'll have fun playing around in the forest. If I find a lake and I've got my fishing license, I can check to make sure that the lake is legal to fish, and I'll throw a line in there to see if I can do anything, especially if I camp next to a body of water, always a plus. So for truck camping, out in the wilderness, it's really fun to have a little fishing kit. This next item, I'm going to place this in the must-haves along with these two. This is a jumper cable box. You know, you've got your little sets of jumper cables, and then you've got your box back here. I don't know the brand, I can tell you. Levo. This is nice to have, and it saved my bacon actually just today. This is why I'm kind of going over this kit, because I actually had to pull this out and use it. Thankfully, I was on my own property, but I was away from the house. I was probably, I don't know, a couple hundred yards back in the property, loading up some rocks in the back of my truck, and I was using the radio as my radio. I had the car off because I didn't want to breathe in the fumes, and lo and behold, it died. The truck had been sitting for about a week, so the battery wasn't freshly charged. Popped this on, started right up, got me back home without having to bring another vehicle over to the truck and using these guys. Additionally, this can recharge your phone, your laptop, your GPS, what have you. Also, it's got a flashlight on there. It's pretty nice to have. This has been in the car for probably 2 years. Still has full battery life. It holds pretty well in the extreme heat and extreme colds. When we get down to the negative teens during the winter, and in the summer we get up to about 110 was so far the hottest I've seen, but it can get hotter. Definitely in the must-haves, you gotta have one of those. They're so cheap nowadays. I think you can get them for like 50 bucks. Why not have them in there? Additionally, it's nice to have, this is not a must-have, but it's nice to have just a set of Harbor Freight gloves in there. Now these guys right here, we have ponchos, rain ponchos. Not only can these be used as ponchos, but they can be used as water storage. They can be used as making a makeshift tent, shelter. They can, if you put them in a hot day, you can make that condensing water supply. That's probably a stretch, but if you really need to do it and you're out here in the desert like I am and you need your water, it could work. But they're just nice to have. Keep stuff dry if you need to. I got 8 of them. They don't take up much room. They can kind of pack down into nothingness. Good to have in there. Bungee strap. Paracord, I can unravel this. I'm not sure exactly how many feet this is, but it's probably like 40 feet if I were to guess. Toe strap. Coleman toe strap, heavy duty. It's probably not going to really do super great with your car, seeing it's got a 2,000 pound weight limit. My car weighs like 4,000 pounds, but it can work in a pinch. Sewing kit. I've actually used this, not this one, but I have used another one before. Nice to have in there. If you lose a button on your pants, on your shirt, that's mainly what I've used it for. If I got a tear, I was able to suture it up. Nice to have. Also, speaking of suture, in a pinch, if you really need to sew up yourself, you could do it. It's not going to be the most sanitary thing ever, but it's probably going to be okay, and it could save your life. Who knows? Just some random assortments. I've got some military beverage base orange type 3. I don't know. I've had this for too long. Probably I should just throw it away, honestly. A bolt with the washers in case I need to tie anything together. A marker. Nice to have in case you need to mark your way, kind of like a breadcrumb type thing. You need to make a note to yourself where you've been, where you come from. Who knows? I think if this is alcohol based, it could potentially be flammable as well. Using ventilated area. Yeah, it probably is flammable. El Cheapo bicycle lock with the combination. You can see it there. Nice to have. Who knows? Me, I've got pansy eyes. You always see me with sunglasses on. This is a pair of shooting glasses that are tinted. There's some times when I've been driving, didn't think I need my sunglasses. This hasn't happened in a long time because I've kind of learned that I always have some sunglasses in the truck. But I've been blinded before where you just cannot see anything. This is some Gorilla duct tape around a old card, a gold gift card it looks like. Hat. This is a Carhartt beanie. Never know when you need to stay warm. Also, this is now again a must-have item. You need to have a simple first aid kit. They're not expensive. They don't take up a lot of room. And yes, I've used this. You know, you're out in the field, you cut yourself, you cut somebody else cuts you, somebody else cuts themselves, what have you. It's nice to have some antiseptic cream and some bandages. This is a water system / cooking system. If I need to take water with me, now I don't keep water in this container, and that is because when it gets down to freezing, it will just burst the container. Now this is a clean canteen. It's nice because it's not insulated, so you can cook with it. You can put it on a stove, heat up water with it. And that's all that's in here. This is a little carry case. And then also in here is another, it's a cup, if I can get it out. It's kind of a pain to get out, but I'll get it out here. This is really nice. They fit together just perfectly. You can boil your water in here if you're trying to make tea, what have you, trying to cook something a little bit small. You can cook meat in here, soups, small game. And again, this is meant for cooking, for fires. I've actually used this a lot when I've been backpacking, and this is the thing I take on my motorcycles when I'm doing the OBCDR, stuff like that. Definitely have used this quite a bit. In this front pocket, I actually would keep a flask, whiskey at night. Goes down nice when you're after an 8-hour day of riding. Got myself a wrench, lighters, not lighters, emergency matches, zip ties, and lastly in here I have a Mora. Like I said, I do like the Moras. I just don't like sharpening them. I really don't. This one I did a force patina on to help it with a little bit of rust prevention. That is a high carbon steel. And that other one, that Pendleton Light, that cold steel one, I'm pretty sure it's not high carbon. I think it's it's just probably a cheap 440 if I were to guess. But I got this in here. TP. Thankfully I have not had to use this. It's been a little worse for wear. You can see it's probably been in there for quite some time. I'll just put this back in here. Some twine. Some extra flashlights. And the big guy right here I've got is a Coleman fuel burner, single burner. Now this is nice because it can run off of diesel, kerosene, gasoline in a pinch. You gotta be careful with it, but it can actually run it. I need to go to the store actually and buy some fuel for it. Now my thought was to fill it up with fuel and leave it, but I just don't trust that this is going to be completely leak proof. So I'm going to keep the fuel out of this container as much as I'd like to because it would save some room. But I'll buy a small container of Coleman fuel, make sure it's nice. I'll probably put it in a Ziploc bag to make sure it stays very leak proof. And lastly in here I have some fuel tablets. These are nice because you just touch them with a flame, they're instantly lit, they burn for quite a while. Very easy to start fires with these. This is what I have in here. I thought there was a compass in here, so I need to add a compass. There is a compass in my truck. Not in this kit, but it would be nice to have one if I need to walk. That's not attached to the actual car. So here it is. This is it. Kind of a lot. I know this is probably overkill for many people. It could be potentially a little bit overkill for me, but I've got the room for it. I just keep this little action packer in the back of my truck. I tie a bungee around it. I forget about it. It's nice to have this stuff, especially the essentials. The essentials, everyone needs to have that. The other stuff, take it or leave it. Like I said, I do stuff where I'm 40, 50 miles away in the backcountry on a Forest Service road, and if my car breaks down, heaven forbid, or if I get hurt, then this stuff is going to start to look a lot more appetizing. It's going to look a lot more like you were nice to have it in there. So, what do I need? Any suggestions? I'm trying to run through, like I said, I'm always improving, always adapting my kit to the situation. Do you see anything I'm glaringly missing? Hey guys, this is it. Thanks for watching. Take care.